Good morning, folks. It's Uche and Joku, and welcome to this episode of the Sneaker Principle Podcast. It is a little before 6 o'clock, and time to make some coffee. This morning, I want to talk to you about being intentional when it comes to the work that you do as a school leader. And you're probably asking me, what do you mean by being intentional? If you're a school leader, you know what you're doing. Your job is to run a school, to make sure kids are being provided for. But I'll tell you this. Yes, there's the job description. There is the work that's required of you that doesn't change overall. From school to school, we know what is needed to happen to have kids be able to do the work, produce, and be successful. That's without say. However, what I'm talking about when I say intentionality, I'm talking about you yourself as a leader. What are your personal intentions? And I'll better frame that by saying, what is your philosophy? Some people might say. I would even say more so, what is your purpose? Because if you don't have a purpose behind the work that you do, then you fall victim to the title and not necessarily the work. What do I mean by that? I walk into spaces and I see school leaders, whether it's a conference, whether it's a meetings, wherever you see a gathering of school leaders, there's a tendency to want to fit in, to want to not be different or not be set aside. Everyone wants to look the same, be the same, and fit into the role of a school leader. So whether you're an assistant principal, you're a principal, whether you're an inspiring leader, someone who's working towards becoming an administrator. And for those of you who know me very well, you know I don't something about the word administrator that bothers me, only because I think years of in schools hearing people say teachers versus admin, which I think is weird. Because at the end of the day, an administrator or a principal, assistant principal, if they're really about the work, they don't forget the fact that they are actually teachers. You don't stop being a teacher. You don't all of a sudden stop being who you are, the core of your profession. And if you do, there's something's wrong with you. I'll be honest with you. If you become an administrator because you don't want to be a teacher anymore, and I'm tired of being a teacher, then why take a job leading teachers? Like literally, why take a job leading teachers? Okay, but I digress. Let's go back to what I was saying. When it comes to being a school leader, I'm talking about anyone who has a position in the school building that requires them to be an integral part of moving a school forward. What is your purpose? What is the driving factor? What is your why? What drives you every day? I'm not just talking about the mission vision of the school, because every school has a mission vision. You have, your annual goals, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year goals, and all those things that every school that has a comprehensive plan should have. But I'm talking about you yourself. What is that thing in the work that you do that drives you? And the reason I say this is because if you're not careful in having a very clear intention behind the work that you do personally, then you risk falling victim to being one of those people who literally just become, how do I say this kindly? A carbon copy, an automaton, a soulless bureaucrat. The job is to just do the job versus my personal purpose that guides my work is what drives me. I'll give an example. I love being part of turning schools around. That's been the highlight of my career. My third school in New York City was a school that they were talking about closing down. And I was fortunate enough to have had a principal who said to me, hey, I'm taking this position at this school. This school has a year to turn things around or they're going to shut it down. It's a big risk because I'm leaving the school that I founded that is actually doing really well. It's an A school. And I'm going to go do this work here. Because if I do this work right, a school gets to survive and hopefully become a successful school like the school that I founded. I'm asking two people to come with me and you're one of them. And I remember asking myself, like, wait a minute, I'm leaving a very comfortable situation, great people that I worked with, and I'm really having fun in this space to go to a tremendous unknown. There was something about the story he gave me, a school that they want to close down, a school that is struggling. At that point in time, this school was only 3 years old. So this school was a new school itself. And I'd gone to two principals in those, 2 years, because we got there in its third year. That school was supposed to be 6 through 12. And the oldest kids in the school are now 8th graders. So they've had one principal their 6th grade year, 7th grade year, different principal, and now a new principal, a new administrative team in their 8th grade year. So now at this point in time, the school is 6, 7, 8. And if it didn't work, this very small school was going to be shut down. So I was like curious, like, whoa. So the chance to do something different, not just be at a school where you're just, do the day-to-day in that school, but a chance to go to a school that literally, if we do this right, we get to keep the lights on. We get to keep the staff. We get to move the school forward based on its original intention of being a 6 through 12. And we got there. I said yes. Everyone told me I was crazy. Everyone told me I was crazy. I remember my girlfriend at the time looked at me like, okay, you're going to leave what you know to go to what you don't know. And remember, this school is a school that you're talking about closing down. It's a failed project, but they're giving it one more chance, 1 year. So went there, and that was an incredible year. These kids it was pure chaos. I got there as the dean. It was myself and the other gentleman was there that the principal took with him was an assistant principal. So it was a new principal, a new assistant principal, and a new dean. And we walked in that place. Parents who were super upset, passionate. Parents were passionate because they fought for the school to be open, and to see it not, move in a direction that they thought it was going to move into was heartbreaking for them. And then all of a sudden, here was another team in its third year, and we got there, and I got to watch my principal really work the school. He got the students, the teachers, the parents in alignment. And collectively, we did something that I didn't think could be done. And I ended up wearing multiple hats. I was licensed special ed teacher as well. So I was the dean of discipline. I was the special education coordinator and a math and science lead, because my background as a teacher was in math, science, and special education. So it was a very small school, so I wore all those hats. Then assistant principal was ELA social studies, and he did a lot of the compliance stuff. Then the principal was the captain. And we did our thing. We worked hard. We moved kids forward. And that one year, we were featured in the papers as the school that had the highest growth in the city that year. And it was 1 year. And I was bit by the bug. I didn't know I was bit by the bug, but I was bit by the bug. I was like, whoa, it can be done. And when I eventually became a principal, the first school I took on, I was told very clearly, this is the most violent middle school in the Bronx, based on incident reports. And I took it on as a principal. And within a year, that was not the case. And the school moved forward and it grew. In my next school, same thing. A school that had a dubious reputation, same work, and did the same thing. And now I'm in a school I'm at right now, which was the lowest performing middle school in District 7 in the South Bronx. Same thing. And my point in this video is talking about how you discover what your passion is. What is the thing that you do that no one else can do, so that when you're in a school, you're moving the school in a direction that that establishes sustainability for the long haul. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said to him, it's funny how schools that are highly successful are based on the fact that they have a culture that's been established that doesn't matter who the leader is, the leader becomes the caretaker of that culture. And I told this person, like, that's become my passion, to take on a school that is struggling, and then establish something something new in that space, not just by myself, but with my team, that now allows the school to move forward. And it doesn't matter who the principal is, because this school has reputation, and this school is this thing. This is who they are. This is what we do. So it doesn't matter who leads it. It doesn't matter what teachers come in here, because when you come into this space, you know for a fact you walk into something that's an institution that has an established culture, and you have to fall in line, because nothing other than excellence will be accepted. So that's what drives me. That's my passion. So I ask principals this: what is your passion? Can you speak that passionately about the work that you do? Not necessarily the school that you lead, but the work that you do. And that's the thing for me that I think a lot of leaders are missing. They just move forward on just doing the job. And I say, rather than what is your job, which is very clear, there's a job description, there are requirements for your job, and there's a title. I say, what is your work? What makes you unique in this work? And for aspiring leaders, think about that. As you move forward and you're applying for positions and you're doing your internships and you're learning, the same way when we were trained to be teachers, and everyone talked about what is your philosophy, educational philosophy. As you're taking classes to get certified to be an administrator, what is your leadership philosophy? I'm just going to add one more thing in there. What is your work purpose? What is your purpose? What's going to drive the work that you do? A great thing about work is your work is really unique to you. A job is, anybody can have a job, but work has its own DNA that you define. All right, call to action. Take some time out today and ask yourself this. What is your job? Of course. And make sure you have a very clear understanding what your job is. But then ask yourself, what is my work? And compare both of them. And if you do it right, you notice that it's a little bit different. And sometimes it's a whole lot different, the job and the work. And ask yourself, are you doing that work? Are you doing that thing that you know that you're great at and that no one else can do better than you? Are you doing that thing? If you don't know what the work is, Start doing that. Start asking yourself these questions. What is it I love about this thing that I do every day? What's the one thing here that I know for a fact that, man, when this thing comes up, people look to me and say, "Nah, this is your thing." Figure that thing out. And I'm telling you, when you figure that thing out, you're going to realize it's not just one thing. It's several things that kind of conglomerate and come together to define who you are as a leader. All right, guys, this is Jay Njoku, Sneaker Principal. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Be well.